There is a Southern revival awakening in our great nation. We are here to highlight the makers, creators, chefs, and communities revitalizing the traditions of Southern food, local cuisine, and craftsmanship. Welcome to the South in Your Mouth podcast.
He's a encyclopedia of knowledge.
Yeah, I don't think there's a guy. I've never seen a chef or owner work as hard as he does.
No.
Like on a nightly basis.
On a nightly basis, no, not at all.
Like to the point where I was like, man, this is like if you ever want to not be in the restaurant industry, go take somebody to watch him because he's not taking the night off.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So do you take the night off, Billy?
I take every day off.
Really? I know you don't.
He's
I mean,
on vacation.
I'm out doing other stuff.
Yeah, you're building your business.
Like I was in meetings today trying to find a second location today. But this morning, I was at 7 a.m. talking to my handyman saying our fridge is out of whack and our freezer's out of whack and I need to meet you over there. So,
All right, I'm just testing it to make sure you look all right. Do you look dapper enough for yourself?
look at that dimple.
There you go. There you go.
Do I look dapper? No.
All right, guys. We're doing something a little different tonight. We're trying to we're going to still stream on Facebook Live for now on 441 South, but we're recording this and then going to post it shortly thereafter onto YouTube. YouTube streaming isn't working quite as well as we want it to, and we're getting a whole new network put in just for the podcast, just to stream. So that should fix that. So without further ado, hey, I'm Kev with 441 South.
Cameron with Southern Cinch hot sauce.
And tonight we have our good friend
Billy Kramer, NFA Burger.
with NFA Burger, like he said. Or, if you're old school, Billy's Burgers.
Billy's Burgers.
Do you post anything on Billy's Burgers
I do
anymore?
not.
You don't post much on NFA either, do you?
No, I do not. I do a lot of Insta stories.
You do. You do a lot of stories.
Yeah.
I think that
And
helps grow it.
And most of them are not even about NFA.
Really?
Most of them are like pictures of other restaurants' food that I go to that I really like. I don't know. I mean,
Love it.
we're doing all right. You already follow NFA. I don't know that you need to come to my account to know to come
What
here
you
for
serve.
a burger.
Yeah. I mean, you post things if it comes up.
Yeah.
Like something new. Like your burger benefit and stuff
Right.
like that.
Well, we're
Yeah.
closed. We're closing Thursday at 4 o'clock for Halloween, so my staff can take their kids out for
Awesome.
trick-or-treating. So I posted that story today.
There you go.
There you go. Easy stuff.
All right, Billy. So you're not a chef
Or a cook.
or a cook.
No, I'm not.
But you have made burgers as long as I've known you. Like, you are a burger connoisseur.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy the premise connoisseur. I get a lot of people who come in all the time. They're like, I'm a burger aficionado. I'm a connoisseur.
Okay.
And I'm just like, oh, you eat out, right? So do I. Right? Now, I've had probably more burgers than most people, so I know what I like and don't like, but I don't know if that makes I'm able to judge how somebody else, if they're any good at their restaurant. I think I'm just able to judge if I like it or not. That makes sense.
That makes
Right.
100% sense.
Right? I mean, like somebody might go to Dickie's Barbecue and think that, like, that's amazing, and I wouldn't probably do that.
Right.
I wouldn't
I mean, it's
compare
like
them
you
to
going to McDonald's and saying it's awesome.
Right. I mean, I like a good McMac once in a while.
Every once in a while. It's like having a varsity hot dog.
Minus E.
Gotcha.
coli.
So how did we get here, Billy? I know that you're not...
How did you and I get here?
No, I know how we got here. But how did you get to NFA?
I was so I'm going to go back to when you and I first met. We had followed each other on Instagram. I don't know for how long, maybe months or whatever. But I had been traveling the country for my day job and eating a lot of burgers and just started developing opinions about burgers, strong opinions, and posting my pictures on Billy's Burgers Instagram account. And I got fired one day. And it turns out you cannot say certain things to a CEO. And it wasn't the first time I said these things. He was just a bad person. He was a bad human. And I just didn't want to work for him anymore. So he decided to let me go. And that was a Friday. That Monday, I watched a documentary about Danny Meyer opening 2 restaurants. I did like some weird YouTube search, like restaurant documentaries, and this one came up. And then a couple of days later, I reached out to you. I think it was like a Wednesday because I think when were you doing your truck?
Yeah, it was
Thursday?
like
it was like
Thursday,
through-
Friday, Saturday.
Right.
Yep.
So I think I messaged you on a Wednesday, and I said, "Hey, can I come hang out in your truck tomorrow?" And you said, "Yeah." So the next morning, I drove out all the way out to where was it? There was a weird church or something. What was
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I mean, it was still in Canton. It was over in the ghetto, Little Mexico, over at the Action Church.
But it
Yeah.
was like that was
Behind it.
441, right?
Yeah, 441. Yeah.
Right. So I came out there and hung out with you on the truck all day and just really enjoyed it. Hanging out with an entrepreneur who was just trying to do his thing and do it very well. And I just really liked it. And so when I got done with that, I decided to try and do a pop-up for burgers. And so I reached out to a place and they let me do a pop-up. And it was Battle and Brew in Sandy Springs, and I always say it was like a glorious disaster because I had never worked in a kitchen before, and so it's different making 8 burgers for your friends when you're going to make like 100 for random people you don't know. So I didn't know anything about thermostatic grills or recovery time, or I didn't know any of that. I was just like, oh, you just put meat on the grill and it's
gonna cook,
and it's
yeah.
fine, right? So after the first 10 burgers, the grill just never recovered for the rest of the night. And so it was horrible. I mean, once in a while I meet somebody who's at that pop-up. I'm like, please come for a burger at NFA. I will free burger. That can't be the last thing you think of me when you think of burgers. So so that's where I kind of started. It was with that pop-up, and the next day when I got home that night, I told my wife it was a glorious disaster. She said, what does that mean? I said, well, I loved it. It was a giant mistake. We made a lot of mistakes, but I loved it, and I can solve all the problems. And so the next day I woke up and decided, that was a Sunday night, I think. And the next day I woke up and started learning about grills and recovery time and going out to kitchens where these companies had their demo equipment and asking them for demos and can I try making a burger for you guys? And so that's how I started. It was just like, and every day since then has been, much like you guys, learning something new
Every day.
every day. Like if you don't, we had a Saturday was one of the best problems we ever had, but I learned a lot from this past Saturday.
Oh, wow.
And we will not make that mistake again. But if you're not learning every day, then you're making a big mistake.
I totally agree with that. So when you started, I remember back in the day, you did some pop-ups. You did Claremont Lounge.
Nice.
That was my favorite. Not in the basement, on top.
Yeah, it was on the
rooftop.
rooftop.
Yeah, not-
Loses.
Like the new age Claremont Lounge, not the old one.
Right.
Yeah.
The good one.
I don't know if I go that route, but I was happier on the rooftop. Let's put it that way.
I got you.
Beautiful, probably the most fun pop-up I've ever done. It was just a beautiful weather, beautiful day, line across the rooftop, me cooking on their grill, just pushing burgers out and having a good time. I did the Spindle.
You did Spindle a good
couple
bit.
of times.
Yeah.
Big Sky in Buckhead. Where's the Scoop? Probably illegally as a pop-up. Sorry, Zach.
Zach's got several places now.
He doesn't own them. He doesn't own them anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we did lots of pop-ups, just trying to learn. I got struck by lightning at the Tour Championship.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, you were out there. Yeah.
And then that was actually, I think, maybe one of the last couple pop-ups before the owner of the gas station called me and said, would you like to take over the cafe and the gas station? And I don't think I've done maybe a pop-up or two since. I just did one in Austin.
How long ago was that?
We opened NFA December 3rd, 2019, so just under 5 years ago.
Very
So
cool.
we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. We still have yet to have our grand opening, so I'm thinking about having a grand opening.
There you go.
Soon.
So you opened December 1st of 2000,
December 3rd, 2019.
and then COVID hit.
I had more problems before that, but yeah, COVID was right.
Right, I know. I mean,
I had the Department of Agriculture
I remember that. Yep.
lie to me and tell me that I was okay, and then the next day the Department of Health said your permits are no good.
Oh, no.
That was awesome. So I was closed for 2 weeks. I reopened March 2nd. Oh, that day we closed. They closed us down. By the way, the permits, it was just a piece of paper. It wasn't like we changed anything or we did anything different. It was literally a piece of paper. And we reopened March. The day we got that, we were written up in the AJC. So for 2 weeks. So that day, we had to shut down. So an article came out about us. And then we didn't get any of that business for 2 weeks. Oh. So we opened 2 weeks later, March 2nd, which was my son's birthday. And then 12 days later, COVID. It was like, I was like, oh, is this how the restaurant industry works?
I don't think any of us were prepared for that. Like,
no, I mean, but I was just all of it. I was like, oh, do people get shut down for stupid paperwork all the time that means nothing?
Yes.
You know, over like these territorial, jurisdictional arguments of nothingness, right? To the point where like the health inspector apologized to me like months later, saying, I'm really sorry we did that to you.
I agree. I think it's any government entity. Like when we opened here, like it took us 4 months longer than what I was promised it would take. All because we have a fire marshal here in Canton that, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to prove themselves. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. It's just,
that's right. Everybody
wants to exert their authority, and I just ran into some people who wanted to exert it a little more than others. And then COVID hit, and we had I would say in Dunwoody, we had the best mayor of all. She's still our mayor. I was on the phone with her every day. Like, are you shutting us down? She's like, no, you're necessary. And then I would go home that night, and I'd say to my wife, I'm like, I don't understand why I'm necessary. I'm a burger joint in a gas station. All these other people are at home. And it wasn't until a couple weeks later that I understood what that meant. So we had this old couple come in, and they said, thank you for being open. And I said, no, thank you for coming here. Like, that's ridiculous. You're the customer. You're coming with money to spend money with me. And I said, so I'm thanking you. She said, no, you don't understand. We don't cook anymore. Like, we can't cook anymore, so we only eat out. And there aren't a lot of places to eat out right now. And I was like, oh, then I kind of got it. I was like, oh, we actually are providing some kind of, I wouldn't call it a service, but providing some kind of good for the community that I thought was just one-sided. And I thought it was just like me benefiting from it. But there were people who like needed, who didn't cook. So we were there to do it.
With that, I think that, and you probably ran into the same thing I did during COVID, was we kind of have the same kind of mayor, like awesome mayor that wasn't going to shut us down, like doing everything they could to keep us from getting shut down. But every week he was going around and buying to-go orders from everybody in the community.
That's
everybody
awesome.
That was open. Bill would go around. I saw him once a week. Other people saw him. It was just that weekly, nightly thing. Hey, I'm going to go eat here tonight, here tonight, here tonight. But we were to-go only. You're still to-go only. I mean, You have some picnic tables outside. But we were to-go only, where we had to bring it outside. Like, you couldn't come in. I think you were a little different.
We didn't want people coming in.
Right. You took orders outside. I remember that.
We allowed one person in at a time.
Okay.
To take order. We kept people in line. Then as it got warmer out, we handed out water outside, and I would pay people, I'd pay staff members, it'd be me or my wife or somebody else, to stand there and hand water out. We just wanted everybody to be comfortable, and yeah, I mean, I was doing the same thing. I mean, I would go to every restaurant I could,
right,
and buy food. Didn't matter where it was in Atlanta, and because I just wanted them, to stay open,
to be there, yeah,
and that's actually where I started doing a lot of work for the Giving Kitchen. We had which is for those of you watching and listening, Giving Kitchen is an organization that helps food service workers in crisis. And I had a girl who worked for me at the time who was heavily involved in it, and she wound up getting sick, not from COVID. She wound up passing away, and it kind of shifted the way that I do things in life. I would say in life, that sounds too deep, but like I stopped really going to ball games. And I decided instead of ball games, I'm going to a restaurant and I'm going to tip. I'm going to over-tip, right? Because now I'm in this industry and I see how a lot of people in our industry get treated. and it frustrates me, taken for granted. And we need people in this industry. And so we need to take care of the people that are working in these restaurants. And so when I go somewhere and I tip $20 on a $15 meal, it's not because I'm a big shot or I'm rolling in money. I've just decided that I'm not going to a ball game, or I'm not going to go do something else. I'm going to go support the people who support who keep our industry alive. And so I'd rather do that. So, so we just, I learned a lot from, watching like my mayor and your, mayor and your mayor, and me just thinking like, this is how, if my parents were alive, this is how they would be doing it, and try and pay it forward. And so we were talking earlier about like what's on my Instagram page and my my stories. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but like people aren't coming they're not coming to your restaurant every day. You want them to come every day.
Right.
But they're not coming every day.
Right.
They're not coming for 2 or 3 meals every day. If they do come every day, they're not coming for all the meals in a day. There are a lot of other restaurants in Canton or around Atlanta that do a great job. And I have no problem posting on my Instagram page, like like a restaurant where I go eat all the time.
Yeah.
And if that helps them out, great. And if it doesn't help them, whatever. But I have no problem. It's not like I'm trying to hoard all the people.
Oh, I know you're not.
Yeah, like when somebody wants a burger, they'll come see me. But if they want barbecue, they'll come out here. If they want chicken, they'll go to Pollo Primo. Like I'm okay sending everybody to those
Where's
places.
that?
It's Moreland and I-20. I always tell people it's the NFA of chicken.
Huh.
Simple menu.
Rotisserie chicken?
No, I mean, Dwayne's going to kill me if this ever comes across. Dwayne and Juan are probably going to kill me. I can't explain how you make it. All I can tell you is that it's awesome, and that before my son left for college, I would have taken him anywhere. I said, "Where do you want to go for your last meal before you go to school?" And he said, "Pollo Primo." I said, "No, man, this is the brass ring. Anywhere you want to go, we'll go to Rathbun's, we'll go to Fogo, we'll go wherever you want to go." He's like, "No, I want to go to Pollo Primo." So that's where we went.
I've got to go hit it up.
And by the way, it's like $11 for a quarter chicken and 2 sides and tortillas.
So there's a place up here. It's called Polo. Golly, I know I've told you about it
I
before.
can't remember the name of it. I know what you're talking about. The one over there off 92.
Off 92, and it's the same thing. They do, but it's like they just have like a rotisserie of chicken. You can get a quarter, half, a whole chicken, tortilla, salsa, some fresh pico, beans and rice.
That's it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
So that's when I say it's the NFA of chicken, I don't mean like, I'm not trying to say I'm great like their chicken, but I mean like we keep it simple.
That's right.
You walk in, the menu is what it is. If you want, a taco with, you want a speedy #1, this is not your place. This is what they do. And, and they do it. They're amazing at it. So I don't mind sharing that on my Instagram page because, I mean, again, I know you're not at NFA every day. By the way, we're closed right now. So if you're hungry, it's not
tomorrow.
Like yeah, but I'm saying if it's not like you can show up to NFA right now and get something to eat. It's not like I'm going to ask you to starve yourself to death until tomorrow. So go see one of my friends.
But one thing I've always admired about you, even though like you were opening a burger place in a shopping center, in a gas station, in a shopping center where there's another burger place right down the street.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, not far from you, Village Burger. And like the people from Village Burger talk so much smack about you, and you still go in there.
I don't know. They talk smack about me. I'm friends with those. I mean, I know those guys.
I know you know them, yeah. But
I mean, look, when they ran out of meat one night, not their fault. There was a problem, and we had all of a sudden we had a bunch of customers come up. We had a spurt at dinner time, and I'm like, wow, this is weird. And I said, well, did you guys all come together? They're like, well, the other place ran out of meat, and first thing I did was pick up the phone and call these guys. And like, do you need meat? Like, it's not. I don't know. That's just my parents. That's just who I am.
I guess I shouldn't say talk smack. Like we were talking, there was a Facebook group about Dunwoody and where to eat and stuff like that, and you're in that group, and people were kind of comparing y'all. And I like how you just step in there and you're like, well, I go to Village Burger. Like, I'm not trying to do any harm to them or put them out of business.
We're different.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, another burger joint could have opened there. Another burger joint. First off, there was a Burger King across the street from where I am, right? There's a Marlowe's. There's Dunwoody Tavern. There's a bunch of places you can get food. So it's not like I came in and upended everything.
Right.
But we're different. We're also a different place. We're not trying to be everything to everybody. You can't come dine in and get a chicken salad and French, and chicken fingers and a beer. Like, we don't have those things. So if you want those things, by all means, go to Village Burger or go to Marlowe's or go somewhere else. I'm pretty comfortable with who we are, what we do. So what I don't like is I don't like when other people use those guys to pump me up.
Right.
And I don't like it when other people use me to pump them up.
Right.
Because I know this, like, neither one of us wants to be associated with that stuff.
I agree. Like, we have that all the time. We're like, and it's the same thing here. Like, everybody has their own niche, is what I tell everybody, regardless of how I feel about it.
You're not as good as Heirloom. It's like, well, Heirloom doesn't want you to be they don't want to be in your Yelp post slamming me, right?
That's
you
right.
don't want to be in their Yelp post slamming them, right? Like, if you like something, say something nice about it. If you don't like something, just keep it on target, but don't use other restaurants. Don't pit us against each other, because we're not against each other.
No, I totally agree with that. And,
right.
But back, like, when I said that, it was back to a conversation you and I had early on about that Facebook group or whatever, because they were kind of trying to pitch y'all against each other, and you kind of shut it down real quick. Like,
I called friends, and it's like, hey, can you take that meme down?
Yeah.
Or can you do this? Like, it's not. The other restaurant has people who work there.
Yeah, they depend on that paycheck.
Right, exactly. And it's not, I'm not, and guess what? Village Burger's doing just fine. I think they just opened their 7th location.
They have one here in Woodstock. Yeah.
Right. So I think they're doing just fine. I think where there's room for everybody, and there's Moxie Burger does a great job, and I talked to those guys, and
I've never eaten there.
Farm Burger. George and I are friends, so it's like, I put on the Burger Benefit, a charity organization,
And you bring them all in.
and I invite everybody who makes burgers to come make burgers for a day for charity, which I think freaks some people out. That I would.
You're against the grain of everything that's a restaurateur.
Well, everything. I think most people got taught that way of, like, you have to win, you have to beat the others, and my focus is on my food, and if I have good enough food, then I'm going to be fine in the end. Also, Jack in the Box exists, right? So it's not always about the quality of food, and it's not always about how great everything is. Sometimes it's just you want Jack in the Box, and that's fine too.
Sometimes you just need it. Yeah. Sometimes
I like 2 tacos for $1. I'm good. I like the spicy tacos. Look, man, I'm good with it. A sourdough bacon Jack.
I've never had that.
Well,
There's no Jack in the Box.
The closest one is Anderson, South Carolina.
Yeah, that's
and I don't
true.
recommend going to that one. Quite frankly, just being honest.
So Billy, in your worldly travels, what is one of your most memorable meals that you've ever had?
Wow, that's a question I have not had. Most memorable meal, 1988. I ate dinner next to Mickey Mantle.
Wow.
Damn.
There you go.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Where at?
This was at a restaurant in Cincinnati. I was up there to go to the 1988 All-Star game. And my friend Jennifer, who lives in Atlanta now, our dads were good friends in the shoe business, and they got us tickets. So we went to this place for dinner, and I looked to the left, and Mickey Mantle's just at the table. It's like sitting where you are. And I'm like, should I get his autograph? She's like, get his autograph. I'm like, I don't want to bother him while he's eating.
Yeah.
But I remember it, right? I don't need his autograph. I was there.
Yep.
I know what happened.
That's awesome.
So I think that's one of my most memorable meals. Couldn't tell you what I ate. I can tell you who I ate it next to and who I was with. Yeah, I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for.
Hey, I'll take it. I mean, not many people can say they ate dinner next to Mickey Mantle.
No. I don't know. What about you?
What, memorable meals?
Yeah.
I would say, it's not even eating out. It's I miss, and one of my most memorable meals is my granddad's fried chicken, green beans, and cornbread.
Love it.
There you go. What
He
about
did
you?
he did fried cornbread.
How do you do that?
So he would make the cornmeal and make the cornbread batter, and he had this certain spoon he used in a cast iron skillet, and he put about a finger's depth of cooking oil in it, and he would just spoon it over in there. And it was almost like a little hush puppy.
Crisp it.
And he would cook it until it started browning around the edges, then flip it over, and it always had this little indentation on the back. I can't do it to this day. I've tried.
Really?
Can't do it.
What about you?
Crazy.
Favorite meal? Most memorable?
Probably like what Kev's saying. My great grandmother's house, like when I was probably 5 years old, and just being there on a Friday night after my dad had picked me up down here, and we drove up to Lafayette to her house, and my grandmother being there, and just all of us sitting around that table, and just the smells. I can still smell it. It was just
Yeah, I can still I can smell the smells of natural gas stove in his house because I don't know if it
I'm
leaks.
fascinated by this idea that you haven't figured out how to make it.
I haven't. I don't know
When
what
was the
it
last
is.
time you tried?
It's been a while. I don't fry a lot of things, but I mean it's been a couple of years. My dad can do it, but I don't know. I don't know if I don't get it hot enough, or if it's too hot, or if I'm not getting the consistency right. He says it should be like a pancake batter, and what I think is pancake batter. Like it's just so weird how he never measured anything. He would just pour it in a bowl and just look at it. And stir
Dash
it
of
up.
this and a pinch
Yeah,
of that.
stir it up.
I can't do that stuff. So when I say I'm not a cook or a chef, like I don't have that feel for anything. Everything has to be precise. I can't just like reach in and grab a ball of meat and put it on the grill. It's got to be 2.75 ounces. That's how I know how to do it. I can't. My seasoning has to be, which makes people laugh because if some chefs have talked to me about my seasoning, and I do things by cups, like you need to do it by grams. I was like, no, that's how you do it. But my brain just doesn't work that way. Where the grams are more precise.
Yo.
But for some reason, it's not for me. Like for some reason, the way I do it is perfect. So, but I don't have that feel for stuff.
But I know. Like I've watched you cook. Like you are a chef. You are a cook because you do things like you're so precise in how you do it. You want your burger to be a certain way, to be thin around the edges and crisp up. You want to season it a certain way, put the cheese on a certain way. I know that you have griddles that steam everything together that you search for, like to make everything consistently the same every time.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what makes a chef, but
No,
but I appreciate that.
I think the passion you have about making it makes you a chef.
Yeah, I mean, like when I say I'm not a chef, and I was saying this the other night to somebody, which is, I'll use a movie instead of naming a chef. Let's say it was like Burnt with Bradley Cooper, if you've ever seen it. I've never been in a situation where somebody was going to throw something at me if I screwed it up, right? Because if that happened, there'd be a fight,
Right?
And one of us would be dead or in jail, or both. And so I don't have that temperament. So I actually have a friend, Shai Lavi. He owns a place down in, I guess, Old Fourth Ward called Third Space, and it's basically like a private dinner club. And he's like, Billy, I want you to come work for me for like a weekend. I was like, Shai, you would kill me. Like literally, I think first off, I'd probably stab myself to death with something he tried to get me to do, like dicing onions the right way or something like that. But I said I wouldn't last because you would yell at me and then I wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't. I just don't have the temperament for it. Even in my kitchen, like at the store, like if somebody messes up, there's no anger involved. It's more like, come on, guys. It's as I told my son once, it takes as much effort to screw something up as it does to do it the right way. So let's just do it the right way.
Well, I like how you've always told me, what makes you different than anybody else is you allow your staff to be perfect.
That's right.
It's not you're allowing them to work. You're allowing or do things the way you want them done. You're allowing them to be perfect, and I'll let you explain what that means.
So what that means is, you guys have a lot of restaurant experience. You less, right? I mean,
Right.
You didn't grow up in the restaurant industry. You're in the elevator industry?
Elevator.
Elevator
Yeah.
industry. So, a lot of the people that, I think I have 90 plus restaurant years experience in my kitchen.
Wow.
Okay. Like, that's crazy. There are 6 people in the kitchen on a daily basis for me. There's over 90 years of experience. But 80 years of that, if you combine them all together, they've worked for people who would never let them, if they messed up, they made them sell it, right? Like, if you messed up a cheesesteak, well, I don't care if you messed it up. We're selling it. We're going to send it out the door, and that person's going to eat it. Oh, we messed up your smash burger. Well, tough. We're not throwing that away. That's food costs, and we're not going to lose money because you messed up. We're going to make the customer eat it. And that's just not how I do things. Like, I think that if you let somebody be perfect at what they do, you'll actually have less food waste later. If you let somebody think if they screw something up that they can just send it out the door, then they're more likely to just not care. And so my staff, when they see a smash burger that's not right, any one of the 6 people in the kitchen can throw it out or put it on the side and give it away to somebody. Like, somebody works at the gas station, or they could take it home. I don't really care. But any one of the 6 people who sees it can just say, like, yeah, just let's redo it. And the staff is instructed, like, hey, if those tater tots aren't right, guess what? Somebody's going to tell you, don't sell those tots. We're going to redo them. So they're all like, if the pickles aren't right. So all 6 people are like,
are accountable.
yeah, all 6 people are not, it's not just the guy smashing the burger or putting the cheese on the burger or prepping the bun or plating it or bagging it. If any of one of those things isn't right, anybody can veto sending that thing out the door.
Right.
I love it.
Right. So it's just, when you say, like, allow them to be perfect, it means, like, they've never been afforded that luxury of trust. Right. It's always been like, oh, your pizza has 1 pepperoni on it. I don't care. Like, we're not wasting that pizza. So.
And you've been in enough kitchens to know, like.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I've been in enough kitchens to know, but I've paid attention. Like, whenever I go to a restaurant, I face the kitchen. My favorite seat now is, like, those restaurants where you can sit at the counter
And watch
and
everything.
just watch.
Yeah.
And just see how people do things. There's a place in Cleveland called Cordelia, and I took my son up there when he graduated high school this past summer. We went up there for a guys trip, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Guardians game, museums, food, and we went to visit my buddy Vinny at Cordelia, and we sat at the counter 2 nights in a row and just watched world-class James Beard-nominated chefs just make food and do things the right way and just ask them questions, and
There's a restaurant in New York that I love, and it's called Joseph Leonard's, and they have the bar, but then they have a section of the bar where the back's completely cut out into the kitchen, and so you're interacting with the kitchen staff, and it's just every time I go, that's where I sit. It's awesome.
I'm the biggest nightmare at those counters, though, because Kevin knows from the day I spent with him on a truck, I ask questions. I'll just keep asking questions. I think Jordan, your cashier tonight, I said, how long does that show usually? She goes, are you a talker? I said, yep. She's like, oh, you might be here a while. I was like, oh, all right. But my first sales manager in radio, Cheryl, at 96 Rock, I went in to ask her a question one day. She said, damn it, Billy, you asked too many effing questions. And I said, I was brand new in sales. I'm really sorry. She's like, no, you're going to be really successful one day, but man, it drives me crazy sometimes. But, just look on the truck. It's like, hey, why do you use this point of sale system? Why does it set up like this? How do you cut brisket? Why do you cut brisket that way? How long does it take to smoke a brisket? What kind of brisket is it?
But it doesn't. I could talk barbecue, just like you can talk burgers all day or food all day.
Right.
I can talk barbecue all day. Although I know that you like talking business all day. Like you're even though you like burgers, your business mind about why we do certain things, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, you're relating that back to something else. I know.
Yeah.
I know when I've talked to you because you're always thinking.
Right. Like I just want to be better.
Right.
And I don't know if I should out this person on this story. Actually, I don't even remember the person. We were talking about burgers, and my friends were saying something about like we don't let. Oh, he said, "Where do you go to eat burgers when you go out?" And my friend was right there. He's like, "We don't let Billy order burgers anymore." And he said, "Why not?" He's like, "Because he never likes it." I said, "That's not true." And he said, "Well, why do you keep ordering burgers?" And I said, "Because I might find one that's better than mine. And then I want to learn how to make it better. And there might be a seasoning or so." What'd you reading there?
I was just reading comments.
Okay.
I was just seeing if there was anything on there
That I need to address?
that we should talk about. I was just reading.
Anyway, so, this idea that like, well, yeah, of course I'm going to keep trying burgers. Yeah. Like, it's not like you're avoiding Austin. You
Right.
go to Austin and eat at barbecue joints because
Exactly.
you want to nail Daniel Vaughn's top 50 and see, what you're not doing right or what what you can do better or whatever. Right. So that's why I go out and eat burgers. But I said to this one guy, I said, "Are you telling me that if you went to a place and you ate a burger that was better than yours, you wouldn't change what you do?" He's like, "No, because everybody's used to what we do." I was like fascinated by that because I can't imagine wanting to serve something that wasn't the best thing humanly possible. Right? Like if you met somebody who taught you a way of smoking a brisket that you knew would make your brisket better, would you do it?
I do it all the time. Sam gets so aggravated at me. I'm like, "Hey, bro, we got to do it." Like, I'm constantly out there watching. Like, I may not be hands-on cooking it every day,
Right.
but I'm walking by 3 or 4 times a day, checking with him. He's like, "I got it, Dad. I got it. But did you do this? Did you do that?"
Right. But also, if you met like Aaron Franklin or Evan Leroy or like any of these guys that you talk to, and they said, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing this?" And you're like, "Oh, that's interesting." You wouldn't just say no because everybody who eats here has eaten your brisket.
That's right.
You would go, "No, let's go try that. Let's see if it's."
That's exactly what I do.
Let's see if it's better, right? I just want it to be better. Now, I will say I'm fortunate enough. Maybe I'm just blinded, but I haven't found something that really I thought would improve the way I do things. But I think that's partly because I ate like 500 burgers before I started making mine.
I mean, I think you've eaten every type of burger out there.
Right. But my burger is built by a list of pet peeves. So I've, not getting a flavor in every bite or not having bacon that comes off when you take a bite. So that's why we use diced bacon and we use 4 pickles instead of 2 or 3. Like we want coverage and we want mustard and sauce and my seasonings on both sides. It's like, I was the other day I was interviewed and I said, "Yeah, I want your first bite and your last bite to be the same. Nothing drives me crazier than when you take a bite into a sandwich and you don't get the thing that you bought."
Yep.
Right? It's like your tacos. Like I had your tacos before dinner tonight, and there was brisket and coleslaw and whatever. There wasn't a bite where I didn't have any of those things.
Right.
Right? It wasn't like there was like some brisket and then my last bite was all coleslaw.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Right. So we're all trying to do it that way. Also, I'd say about the question thing is you said you don't mind talking brisket all day. And I don't mind talking. I can talk. We can be here for days. And that is what I've discovered in the restaurant industry is that people who really love what they do will talk to you freely.
Absolutely.
Right? Like there's nobody's holding their secrets in
That's right.
or their passion for it.
But also nobody will do exactly what you do every day. Like your method is your method. Even if you wrote it in a book and gave them a step by step.
Well, it's like your grandfather.
Yeah. I can't do it.
Right. I mean, it took me a long time to understand that. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be about Sonic. I'm sorry, guys at Inspire Brands. I know you're customers of mine, but like we get a lot of people coming and try burgers, and one of their employees bought one of our things of seasoning back when we sold seasoning, and then about a year later, there's a burger that looks a lot like my burger being sold, and I asked a friend of mine at Inspire Brands, like, "How is it?" And he's like, "Don't worry, man.
It's not true."
Because they're better off doing a burger that's their burger.
Right.
Instead of doing a burger that's like my burger or the other burgers that they looked at that went into this burger. Right? That's like McDonald's. I like McDonald's. I like the original McDonald's when I grew up, where you walked up to the counter and the person took a burger from the chute and put it in your bag with some fries. And you were out the door in 80. I think they wanted everybody out the door in 83 seconds from the time you ordered. It was like in their manual. The McDonald's today drives me crazy because it's not. They're trying to be something they're not, and that they can't be. because that's not our perception of McDonald's. We're not going to wake up one day and go, oh, McDonald's makes the best burger in the country. We're just not.
Right.
You know, we might think Shake Shack does, or Freddy's, or Culver's, or NFA, or whatever, but we're never going to go back there. So why don't you just be who you are? And
Told you.
oh, is that the ice machine?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need more.
It's
of these
the
panels.
carbonator on our.
Yeah, you need more of these black panels.
We need more sound deadening in here.
Thought it was an earthquake.
Actually, it's not picking up that bad in here, so we're all right.
There you go. We'll cover that in post.
That's right.
Whatever
We'll
in
edit
post.
that out. That's right. So I agree with you. Like nobody is doing, even if they try to do it the same. It's like Texas barbecue. Everybody pretty much has the same process in Texas.
Yeah.
Whether you're Terry Black's like we talked about, 300 briskets a day. But, I mean, they have their own little spins to it that make it their own. But for the most part,
How do you make it your own?
their process is the same.
How do you make it your own?
Well, I mean, most of them are using the same rub. It's percentages on their rubs. Like, I know Evan over there, he uses something called the foil boat on his briskets to where he doesn't cover the top of it. He wraps the bottom and the edges in a foil boat and sits that brisket back on there to finish where everybody else is using.
Why?
So it makes your bark on top crispy.
Okay.
It makes it a crunchy bark on top to where you're getting in that crunchy bite.
Do you like that?
I do. I've tried it here. I like it. I don't necessarily know if it would be something I would sell here because, again, I like it.
You like your way better.
I like my way better.
Yeah. I always say, like, when people talk about my burger, you should put mushrooms on there, or you should put lettuce, or you should have tomatoes. I'm like, I just want to explain something to you. There's a constituency of one here.
Yes.
And that one is me. And the burger you're eating is the burger I make for myself. And I want you to have the burger you want. But if you think that's a different version, then it's okay if you go somewhere else. We're not going to please everybody. But there's a constituency of one. I got a 3-star Yelp review the other day. The woman in a Yelp Elite, she waxed poetic about how I used the wrong pickles. I need to use Clausen pickles, right? And it's as if I didn't go spend $100 on pickles at Publix and try all the pickles, right? Like it's like I just randomly picked a pickle and this is what I do, right? It just completely discounts all of the effort that I put into doing something to make it a burger that I really love to make for myself and my family, right? It's like, telling you like, oh, you need to use pink salt, pink Himalayan salt. You're like, oh, because I've never tried to do a brisket with pink Himalayan. I don't know if you have, but I'm sure you have.
I haven't, but
You haven't? Okay.
I got you.
Damn it. Maybe it is. Maybe that's the key.
Maybe that's
the key.
But I do know, like all the barbecue joints out there. Several years ago, it came out that Franklin was using Lowry's as one of his seasonings. It wasn't just salt, pepper, garlic. I love Lowry's.
That's how I do my steaks.
So Lowry's, he was putting a coat of Lowry's on there, and it was like everybody's like, "What makes his brisket so different?" Well, it's not just the Lowry's; it's the whole process. It's the tallow. It's how he's resting them, how far he's cooking them. He's cooking by feel over temp. But then everybody else gets into it, and now you have people using Fiesta seasoned salt because it's got a different flavor profile than Lowry's, or they use Badia or whatever that.
Badia, yeah.
Badia.
I still don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Badia?
I
I use that in some of my stuff. One of my spices is from
Yeah.
there.
And so that's kind of the thing about it. Like everybody has their own style of doing things. Everybody has their own little thing that makes it their own.
Right. And that's what I explain to people. I'm like, when somebody walks in and says, why don't you do it this way? I'm like, because somebody else is already doing it that way. If we were all doing it the same way, there'd just be one of us.
Yeah.
Right. And the world doesn't need another Shake Shack. Shake Shack exists. My seasoning is my flavor profile.
Right.
I want you to like it. If you don't like it, get a burger with no seasoning, light seasoning. It's up to you. But I'm not going to re-engineer the way I make my burger to be like everybody else. No one needs that.
But if there's a process, like you said earlier, if there's a process that would change,
If it would make it better, yeah. If
Yeah.
something would make my burger better, I mean, and I think there are certain things that would make my burger better.
Have you changed anything about your burger since you opened?
I mean, we're on a different meat provider, but the percentage is the same, 73-27. Actually, we've gone up in fat content. We were at 75-25, up to 73-27. Quite frankly, I didn't know I could get fattier meat when I first started, and then I discovered it, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good." I did a taste test from a major supplier. I'm not going to out the supplier because he's a good guy, and there's nothing wrong with the meat, but we did a taste test. He came in, and had my staff make burgers, and they know the drill, how to label them, so we don't know what it is. We did it twice. The meat I used came out better than the premium or the more considered premium stock. And a friend of mine who's in the barbecue business was with us. He had the third burger, and he's like, it's just butterier. It's more like it's like smoother.
Yeah.
Like it definitely has a different mouthfeel. And they both agreed on that. So I could have paid another $1.50 a pound more for meat for premium, what was considered premium, but it doesn't make it better, you know. So that's also the other thing is better is relevant. So my friend my cousin who's a chef is like, Billy, you need to use these spices. They're, you know, the Dalai Lama blessed them or whatever. Whatever. You know, these are the best. Like it was ground in Nepal, you know, by hand or whatever, you know. And then I had all these spices sent to me, and I made my seasoning. And he's like, "What do you think?" I was like, "Yeah, it's not as good as the one I make." He's like, "But it's better." I'm like, "No, it's only better if it makes it better. It doesn't matter. You know, like a Cadillac is nicer than a Toyota Supra, but if the Supra goes faster and you want to go really fast, well, then the Supra is the better car."
Right.
And I'm using a Toyota Supra. Those of you who don't know what that car is, it's an old kind of Toyota sports car.
They got them back.
Yeah.
Do they really?
They're out now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, now I drive a Honda Pilot. I'm far away from anything sporty.
Yeah. Got rid of the Lincoln, huh?
I did. My dad's Lincoln is gone.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought for the longest time I thought you drove it because Matthew McConaughey was the advertiser.
No, it wasn't that fancy of a Lincoln. It was my dad's car because it's what I could afford. Because when we started the business, we were kind of out of money. So
I get that. Does that ever change? Slowly?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm in a way better space now than I was the day I started. It depends. You know, like I stopped. First off, I was never the guy who was trying to chase other people's luxury.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a friend who's done very well for himself. A lot of friends who've done very well for themselves. And when they have a really nice car, I'm excited for them. And no way do I ever really care if I have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and going back to my first sales manager, Cheryl, she said something to me one day while I was looking at the sales board. And she said, "You're doing a great job." I said, "I'm not doing as great as Rachel." Hey, Rachel. And she said, "But don't worry about Rachel. She doesn't pay your bills." And so she told me that 26 years ago. I haven't forgotten that, right? So my friends aren't paying my bills. So I just got to worry about what I worry about. So I think part of having money or doing better also, like, I don't know how much money you made when you were working at Otis, right? But
well, I never worked there, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Sorry, I just assume
Yeah.
every elevator company is
Ain't
Otis.
nothing.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was the company where'd you work?
I worked at Tisson.
Okay.
Tisson
The other
Pro.
one?
Yeah, the other one.
The other one?
Yeah.
The other Otis.
The other Otis.
But I don't know what kind of money you made, but I assume you made more money than you did when you first started doing stuff on the food truck.
I still made more money there than I do today.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just, but I think now, I don't know where you're like psychologically, but psychologically I'm in a much better place.
I think psychologically I'm in a better place to an extent. I think that there's back to that, but I think that there's two lanes there. Like, yeah, I'm in a better place on this side of it, but the stress level over here and the stress of, hey, it's all on me every day. Like, there's nothing guaranteed tomorrow.
No, that's 100%. I could have made our last burger could have been made today.
Right.
I have no idea what happens at the gas station tonight, what I wake up to tomorrow.
Right.
And you guys have no idea. I mean, God forbid something happens at the pit. Whatever.
It's like,
Anything
Robert
happens.
Warlaw always says, like, are they going to come back tomorrow? Are the customers going to keep coming?
I love when he says that. Every live he does, he says that. He says, I'm going to keep doing this as long as y'all keep showing up. The day y'all decide that, hey, y'all have had enough of me, then it's time to move on. I'm going to retire.
It took me a long time to be confident in the fact that if I just keep doing what I'm doing and I'm consistent at it, that people will come back. It was a long time for me to get over that hurdle.
I agree, and some days I'm not over that hurdle.
Really?
It's
not still?
I don't know. Like after the
Have you ever picked up a piece of brisket and been like, this is terrible?
No, it's not even that.
What is it?
I think this past year has shown me that it's not like you can make quality food and you can be the next best thing out there and you can have great food. But I think at some point people are looking at they're not eating out as much. They still support you when they can, but I think the economy has really took a nosedive onto it to where, I mean, my food cost is every bit of double of what I paid when I opened in 2018.
I think
I'm cooking more food and I'm serving more people, but my food cost is up. But at the end of the week, my weekly sales, yeah, they're up a little bit, but how is it comparable? Let's look ticket number to ticket number of where I was.
It's more about margin.
Yeah, our margins are way down.
If you raise your price, by $1, you're going to get more revenue. But
I'm not going to.
It doesn't mean you're making more profit.
I'm going to lose more customers, though.
But yeah, so I had this, and we were talking about this before we started. But not this part. But I have a new bookkeeper, and the first thing she did when she saw my numbers was praise me for my food costs. All she does is restaurants. She's like, Billy, your food costs are amazing. I said, I work hard at it, but you know what? I'm still getting screwed by people. And, a perfect example, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to call him out. Lamb Weston. I mean, there's a
Go to firelambweston.com.
Yeah, firelambweston.com. There's a group of people who want you to believe it's the boogeyman's fault that your food costs are where your food costs are. Okay? And here's what you need to know. McDonald's just sued the 3 or 4 major beef manufacturers for collusion over the last 10 years. Okay, that's McDonald's. So think about that. What chance do you have, or I have, if McDonald's has been getting screwed for 10 years?
Right.
Right? It's buying power, and all these guys everyone talked about, supply and demand and buying power and this and the other. It's a fugazi. It's false. It's a lie, right? Like, so the boogeyman out there is not. I don't think the boogeyman is who we're led to believe the boogeyman is. I think the boogeyman is Lamb Weston. It's JBS. It's Tyson. It's it's these guys who want you to believe it's the boogeyman. And I think there's money to be saved out there for you. I don't. Here's the problem. You don't know who else. Like, I don't talk about the price of my tater tots with other people in the restaurant and with people in the industry. Okay. The reality is, you never talk to your neighbor about what they're paying for their brisket or what they're. I mean, you might, but
we kind of do. I mean, just certain people, yeah,
but not enough.
Not enough,
right? And there's no. I found out that a guy who's using Lamb Weston fries, just like mine, was paying $20 a case less. Okay, that's the boogeyman is the distributor, or the company, the Lamb Weston, right? And now that I know that, my costs are lower, right? So, yeah, there are inflation, and economy and all that stuff, but I think there's money to be had for you. If we as restaurant people can have more open conversations about what's inside the black box, rather than just believing the sales guy who walks through the door and tells you what something costs because he used an economic buzzword that made you believe something different.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but I see it. I see it with customers not coming in as much.
But it comes out everywhere, right? So,
right.
So Lamb Weston had an earnings call 3 months ago, and in the earnings call, he blamed the restaurants. Tom Warner, the CEO, blamed the restaurants for the menu prices being higher. Now, why do you think my tater tot prices are higher? Because it
get
might
it.
cost me more, right? So if it's garbage in, it's going to come out on the other side of your prices, right? So it's not just the Lamb Weston guy or the meat guy. I mean, it's a lot of people forcing it upon the consumer, forcing
Whether
you,
it's a grocery store or a restaurant.
right, forcing you to charge $36 a pound for brisket. Or I don't know what you're
35.
charging. 35.
Yeah, close.
Right, but I mean, it's not your choice to do that. It's just how the math works out. You would gladly charge less.
Oh, 100%.
Right, if you could, right? So, I think there's
If I ever win the lottery, I won't come out and say it, but there will be signs, i.e., free barbecue 1 day a week. Probably only day I'll be open too.
Or watch out, bear might show up.
Yeah,
right, exactly. But so I think like there needs to be more open conversation between
I
restaurant
agree
owners.
with that.
I think there needs to be more pressure, more willingness to walk away, right? So like I don't think my vendors think I'll walk away.
No, I think your vendors know you'll walk away. I think because
And make a website.
one thing about Billy, and one thing I've always admired about him is he will find out who the CEO of that company. He bypasses the sales reps. He bypasses the distributor. He goes right to the source, and he will fire off or call. Like I was talking to him one day, and he was like, "Hey," he was like, "I found Danny Meyer's cell phone number. I got a hold of it." He's like, "I just messaged him to see if I could get 30 minutes on his schedule." And he replied to him like, "Yeah, here's my assistant."
We had a Zoom call for 30 minutes.
Is that not unbelievable?
Yeah,
Like,
whatever, man. Like there's a sales saying, you don't get it if you don't ask. I was a sales guy forever. My dad was a sales guy for 55 years. What's the worst that somebody can say is no,
that's right.
right? So if he texted, first off, he didn't have to respond back.
Yeah.
Secondly, he could have said, look, man, I don't really do that because I get 1,000 calls a day. But he got on the phone with me. One of the coolest, Zoom call, one of the coolest things that ever happened was, first off, we spent 25 minutes talking about the 82 World Series because he's a Cardinals fan, and I was at that 82 World Series. And finally, into the middle of the conversation, he goes, Billy, we only have 30 minutes here, and you've spent the whole time talking about it. I was like, yeah, I don't really care. This is cool enough. But his COO, Richard Kramer, was on the call, and he said, Billy, let's get on a call next week. And Richard, we got on a call that next week, and he said, can I be honest with you? I said, yeah. He's like, do you want the pie in the sky speech, or you want the straightforward speech? I was like, straightforward. He said, what the F are you waiting for? He's like, why aren't you opening more locations? And I said, what are you talking about? He's like, I see all the awards you've won and all the articles and the accolades. I was like, what are you paying? What are you paying attention to me for? You're Shake Shack. You guys have more money than you know what to do with. He said, we know who all you guys are. It wasn't just me. It could be Heavy Handed out in L.A. or Easy Street or, Babe Froman down in Miami. It could be any of us, right? He's like, we know who all you guys are. And
Makes you feel good.
well, it was also a pretty good lesson. It was like, don't think too highly of yourself. Like, you're not, there's a lot of eyes on you, and you're not, there's a lot of other people doing great things. But it was a good conversation. I wouldn't say it spurred me to I was already trying to figure out a path to growing, but to hear it from people who've already done it is pretty cool. But I never had that conversation had I not sent Danny that text. So you don't know. And by the way, who knows? Shake Shack maybe buys me one day. Who knows? I don't know. And it may stem from that conversation.
If Shake Shack is looking for a 2-bit barbecue joint in Canton, Georgia for sale, no trade backs, but I'm open to working a contract with you.
So the first time I ever reached out to Danny was the two days before I reached out to you after I got fired. I watched that documentary, and I wrote down all these questions that I had best on the documentary. And I sent him an email, and I said, hey, love to chat with you about that documentary because, man, I have a lot of questions. And his assistant wrote back, Danny's traveling, but Richard Kramer will talk to you. So that was the first time. That was the second time I talked to Richard. It was 5 years later. The first, or 6 years later. The first time was he got on the phone with me to talk about the questions I had about the documentary I saw.
But look at them, like, look how massive they are that they would take the time to get on the phone with you.
Well, that's what I said earlier. Like, if you find somebody willing to talk to you in the restaurant, if you find somebody in the restaurant industry who really cares about what they do, they'll answer questions. They're happy to do it. And what I was getting at about the barbecue, because you made a joke, if you're looking for a barbecue place, Richard and I had a whole conversation about Danny when he opened Blue Smoke up in New York, about how he like traveled the country looking at barbecue places and doing stuff like that. So you don't know. I mean, you know, like
you never know.
He could walk in here tomorrow and go, you know what, this is how we do it.
He'd probably look at it and say, "Can't believe you're still open."
Look, you know, it's a shame that every time I get in my car to come out here, it's an hour away.
It is like that's the first thing Billy and I both talk about is how far it was. Right, because it is a long way.
No, but it's same for you. You're like, man, I'd come see you for a burger, but man, it's an hour away. Right?
And it's really not an hour. It's just traffic.
It's never different. It's 52 miles, door to door.
Is it? I didn't think it was that far.
It's never shorter, never longer. It's never an hour and a half.
It's an hour.
45 minutes. It's an hour. Even when I was just at Avalon, looking at space in Avalon, to get here, I put it in, and I'm like, I'm still an hour away from this guy.
I'm a geographical oddity.
It doesn't matter where I am in Atlanta. I'm always, but I know, you know, you're self-deprecating, but your food is great. I think you wouldn't be here this long. You can't.
Well, food is a typical day, like you said. Like you can tell when somebody loves what they do. I do love what I do. I love cooking. I love the passion of it. But I find myself sitting right here 90% of the day, responding to emails, running payroll, you know, looking at everything, turning it upside down, seeing how much more blood is in the turnip to make it another week, you know. And it's not that hey, look, we've been here. We have.
I remember we didn't have all these employees.
That's right.
So
and you look at it and you look at, okay, Maggie and I, when we first got married, we were like, hey, one day we're going to retire and move to the mountains. Well, the other day she reminded me, she was like, Kev, we live in Jasper. We live right here at the base of the mountains. Like, I don't want to live any closer to the mountains than we live right now. And we dreamt about that and prayed about that, and it happened. Same thing with the restaurant. Like, I prayed for this. I.e., God has a sense of humor a lot of times.
Be careful what you wish for.
That's right. That's right. So,
but I think I was always destined to. Not work for other people. I never liked it. Always was independent thinker. Always wanted to be out on my own. And it's not. I wouldn't say you're not doing it or it's not for you. I'm saying it's not for everybody. It's a different level of.
Right.
Some people can handle being in middle management. Some people can handle going to work and selling widgets, you know, for other people. And some people need a little more autonomy in their life. Like, I just need, what did I do yesterday? Robert Owens from Owens and Whole Barbecue.
Yeah.
We spent the whole day messing around. I did all my work the night before, payroll and all that stuff. He's like, what are you doing today? I said, I don't know. I'm going to go look at spaces. We went out and ate at a couple different places. We looked at spaces in Marietta and all these other places. And I had a good time yesterday. And I didn't get to do that in my career.
And the same here. Like,
you tell me about spending time with your son. And
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade what I do. Like, my daughter's out there working right now. Like, I get to spend time with my family that I missed out on.
Yeah.
And all. And you know, I said it earlier, you know, there's no guarantee for tomorrow. You got to keep your foot on the gas every day. And there's something to be said about that, too, because you can be as big or as small as you want to be.
Yeah, I get to do, I forget what I have to do tomorrow. To do something tomorrow, but I might just go to Athens and see my kids for dinner.
That's awesome.
Because why not? No one's telling me, you know, I'm in charge now.
So where's your go-to place in Athens? Cali and Tito's, or do you like just...
No, my wife loves that place.
It's pretty good.
It's okay. I'm not... What is my go-to place in Athens?
Little Italy?
No. What's the... No. It depends how late night it is. And how long that line is.
That's why you go to Pepino's.
Right.
Which line? The front line or the back line for the meth?
No comment. What? No. What's Kirby Smart's place?
I don't know.
The fish place. He's an investor, I think, in the seafood place, right?
Marker 7? No.
I know. There's a place there that a lot of people go to.
Where's it at?
Broad Street.
Oh, that's
Not too far from Little Italy, but it's a little further down across from the CVS. I can't remember the name of it. Somebody will chime in here, I'm sure, on the comments. But I like going there.
okay.
So I've actually run into Kirby there, and that kid Rayola who goes to Nebraska. I was there I was there that night he was on his recruiting visit.
You told me about that.
Yeah, man, we had him for a minute. Yeah, so I'll go there. I mean, the reality is I'd rather my kids come home. I make them steak. We hang out. I don't. Yeah. Oh. Maypole. I mean, I'll go to Taqueria del Sol because I love those guys. They're
That's
up there.
good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can go to any Taqueria del Sol and be happy. Taco
stand?
No, I think the last time I went to a taco stand was when they had one in Atlanta, and I was doing radio remotes there at 680 The Fan, and coming home at 3 in the morning.
And being up all night the rest of the night after eating taco stand. I don't know. There's just something nostalgic about taco stand.
Well, I didn't grow up here, and I didn't go to Georgia. So
tacos
that nostalgia is a little lost on me.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, my daughter bartends at Silver Dollar.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because, we're adults.
Oh, okay.
We're parents, and we don't go there. But she's a bartender there, so we'll go see her and have a drink. Uh-oh, are we off?
We lost a camera.
Which camera?
Camera 1.
Which one is that?
The one with all of us on it.
How are you? Over here now.
Look, there's
Look at that dimple.
I don't even know where we lost it. Did it go dead? Huh. I mean, I still got the audio recording, so it'll be good.
So we don't have any camera?
No. Is it dead? Huh.
Does it not have a plug?
Yeah, it's plugged in. That's what I don't understand. It may have overheated.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But, I mean, I still have it. So one thing is it's recording it all on separate things. So I still have your camera. I just lost that one. So
got it.
It'll be all right.
Yep.
It'll be all right.
You'll figure it out. You're a pro.
We're good. We're
Did
good.
you ever think you would have? I asked you this question before. Did you ever think you'd have all this stuff? Both you guys.
No.
There's a lot of equipment here. You guys, you don't see it all, but this is about as professional of a studio as I've ever been in. When I was struck by lightning, I think it was NBC or ABC sent somebody to my house that night to record me, and it was on their iPhone. That was for national television. This is way more advanced.
So it'll get us all in it.
This is way more advanced than the guy who showed up at my house.
Other way. The other one.
Your other left.
Look at that. Look. There we go. There we go.
Look at that technology.
Awesome.
Anyway, so that guy was recording me, and another one recorded me like on my Zoom camera, my MacBook. So you guys are like living large here. Like, this is pretty awesome.
Until our camera went dead.
So now you learn.
Yeah.
Now you're going to cooler. You'll attach something else to it later. You're not going to let that go. Right?
No.
You'll learn why it went dead.
No, we'll learn why it went dead and fix it.
That's how you do things.
So before we wrap up here, what is next? What is Billy's big adventure next? I mean, I know that I've seen articles where you're wanting to open multiple locations and getting there.
Yeah, so I hired a COO. He starts Monday. His name is Brett Crowder. Ran a $50 million organization out of the airport, like 20 different restaurants or something like that. And I always decided if I was going to grow, I wasn't going to do one more or two more. I'm either going to have one, which I'm really happy at, or we're going to have a lot. That's the goal.
I got you.
So I brought in a guy who can help me achieve that goal, who knows more about the industry. What I know about this is I don't know what he knows.
And it's not a franchise you're looking at doing. You want to own
we might.
this.
I mean, we'll own a couple, but goal is to franchise.
Okay.
The real goal is to live on an island in 10 years. So whatever method we got to do to get there. No, I mean, I don't want to do this the rest of my life.
I got you.
No, male Kramers do not have a history of doing really well in our older age. And I want to enjoy time with my family while I know I'm enjoying it. And so whatever I have to do to make that happen is fine with me. So that's what's next, is just try and grow this thing. If it becomes something I don't like, I'll shut it down and I'll just have the one and be really happy. And,
But the one's getting a facelift, right?
yeah, we have construction started 3 Mondays ago. It's really good for sales, by the way.
Oh, I bet.
Bobcats and beeping trucks. By the way, little kids, it's pretty funny. The little kids who come there for lunch, like, think it's like Tonka truck.
Oh, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, this is like just like Bob the Builder, but he's right here in real life. Meanwhile, all the parents are like, oh my God, that beeping noise is going to kill me. But I think we're almost through that part. I think all the steel is up. Yeah, so we'll have a new kitchen.
Still not a sit-down place.
No. Well, we have 70 seats outside.
Okay.
By the way, we have more seats than most restaurants.
You have more than I do.
Yeah, I mean, we have 70 seats, like 70 picnic table seats. So, yeah, it'll be a new kitchen. What I don't know what's going to happen is when I decided, I asked the owner of the gas station to build this for me. That was 2 years ago. And I'm really fortunate that sales are a lot higher than they were 2 years ago. So I don't know. This is like the law of unintended consequences, right? Or be careful what you wish for, you might get it.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen when this new kitchen opens. Like, I don't know if it's going to solve any problems or make things worse. I really have no idea. Like, this is all, like, scary. It's a little
Winging it.
scary. I mean, look, I don't know. But here's the other thing. And I'm sure both of you have come across this, like, in your, in your days in the industry. There are a lot of people who know a lot of things, but nobody knows anything for sure.
That's right.
Right, so you can ask Danny Meyer, Richard Carrain. They know how it works for them. They don't know how it works for me. They know what it's like to start a burger joint in Madison Square Park in a city with 40 million people or whatever it is, right? Like, I know how to start a burger joint in a gas station in a city of 40,000 people, right? That's what I know.
Yep.
Right, so we're not the same. We're not doing things the same way. Just like Aaron Franklin might do $4 million a year in barbecue, or Terry Blacks might do $50 million a year. But that's where they are.
Right.
Right. They've never had a barbecue place in Canton, Georgia. So that's the thing that I'll leave you guys with is like, no, I'm winging it. Yeah, because it doesn't matter who I ask. Nobody has the answer.
I've learned that about a lot of things in life. Doctors, lawyers, all of that.
They all have opinions.
They do.
But they don't,
And they get paid well for their opinions.
Yeah. So I had somebody earlier today say, that's a great idea. That's what I'm going to tell you about ideas. They're great or bad at the end. In the beginning, they're just ideas. Right? So building this new expansion seems like a great idea. It might not be. I have no idea. Hiring a COO seems like a genius idea to me. Might be a big disaster. I have no clue. We're going to find out.
Hey, but he's in it with you.
That's right.
He is in it with me, but he has more skills than I do. So if this doesn't go well, he's going to be fine.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. It'll be me coming to work here.
That's
Learning how to slice brisket,
That's fine.
which I did. Hey, look, I did it on day one. I can do it on the last.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. Well, man, thank you so much for taking the time with us. I know we've gone and got a little bit longer than
No, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Real quick, can we say the Giving Kitchen?
Yes.
The Giving Kitchen helps food service workers in crisis. This means like anybody working here at 441 has like a car accident and can't work, or breaks a foot and can't work, they can apply for funds to help get them some relief. So if you're in the food industry, visit givingkitchen.org. Think about others. You might be the one that needs the help one day, and you're going to need these guys, and you'll want that help. A lot of the money we raised with my burger benefit, 5 days later there was a hurricane, and it ripped through North Carolina. Devastated. Still don't know if they have when they're going to have drinking water. A lot of those funds that we raise are being applied for from people from there.
So is Giving Kitchen, do they have other locations?
It's not location based. They just found it here in Atlanta.
Okay.
But anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country, in the United States, where if you have a problem and you can't work because you were in a car accident or there was a fire or your restaurant got flooded and there's no job for you, you can apply for funds. So like when there were those wildfires or the fires in Hawaii, I don't think there's ever been a Giving Kitchen event or a person who's been to Hawaii from the Giving Kitchen. Those people applied for funds. Down in Florida, North Carolina.
Wow.
So millions of dollars are raised a year. The goal is to give it to people who need it. I think this is a very important endeavor because I don't want people to wake up one day and find out that there are no restaurants to go to. The only restaurants are fast food, doing it with, serving lower quality food and not giving it, not caring about their employees.
And robots.
I'm gonna have a robot though in my new kitchen.
Awesome.
So the fry bot.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
No, not the one with the arm.
Oh, it's
I
not?
got this other guy. It's a rail system. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome.
You going to have like a window where people can watch it?
I guess you can probably see it from. I don't know. I think you can see it from the new counter, but it's gonna be pretty badass.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Well, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Who's next week?
Don't
To
know
be
yet.
determined.
Yeah.
That guy is awesome.
Yeah. He's my favorite.
It's my third favorite.